Welcome to the Boston Art Podcast,
Boston's premier art podcast,
where we talk art, culture, and philosophy.
My name is Theodore Earthworms.
And I am Brian Huntress.
Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
This is bad news. This is a bad news episode.
Bad news.
There is no bad news, but
Bad news for us.
we don't do interviews anymore.
We don't do interviews anymore.
Those are shut down.
News to me.
We're deleting our whole catalog of people we've interviewed. They're all going away, and
That's not true. Don't
we're
even say
replacing them with ASMR tap dancing.
that. You know, I could be down with that.
ASMR tap dancing.
Full rebrand.
It's 9 a.m.
It's 9:22.
That's not early at all for probably like 80% of the world.
I'm late, honestly.
Late to work.
Yeah, I should be halfway there by now.
And I'm driving you.
Yeah.
And it's
I don't mind
Wednesday.
being late today.
And we don't have an episode in the queue for Friday. And we don't have anything scheduled. And we're not going to see each other until before that, after that. Which is why we're fucking recording right now. It's a horrible time to make content.
But yesterday was Valentine's Day, so we were busy.
Congratulations. I don't know. We lost those really nice mics we had for like 2 weeks. I lost them. They're just gone. It's like when you lose something when you're a kid. Like you like lose a toy and it's like permanently gone forever and there's no rectifying it. But I'm an adult. Like I can't remember the last time I just lost something. It's just vanished and now I'll never find it again.
I guarantee that it's either in your car or in my car on the floor.
Well, you haven't really checked your car.
Well, your car hasn't been totally cleaned out either. There's like 3 broken skate decks behind us right now that I know have been there for months.
You're really not pulling any punches here. Is that how you use that expression?
I think so.
I don't know. I have a knot in my back and I feel like shit and I'm hungry and tired.
Well, I already ordered us breakfast, so we just have to grab it off the counter.
Who will? Me?
Sure.
Great.
If you are volunteering.
I'm not.
Make sure you check that they have no cheese in them if you go in, because these ladies fight with me.
Oh my god. Why do people hate me? Some people just want me personally to die.
Well, sometimes you order at Dunk's and the person there is the nicest, sweetest person you ever met in your life, and they're so kind and they make sure that everything's great. And sometimes you go in and it's like you committed a crime by walking in the door and they spit on you and tell you to die.
Horrible people. I hope they all perish. Alright, you take this. I'll
take
run
it.
in real quick.
Should I
Be right
monologue?
back.
Okay. All right, be safe.
I guess I'm monologuing because I don't actually know how to pause this. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and it was really, really fun. Brian took me out to dinner in the North End at, I think the place was called Aqua Plaza. It's an Italian seafood restaurant. It was really cool. Long-time listeners of the podcast will know that we are usually McDonald's people, so that was very fancy, and I had a good time. And yeah, we were supposed to record yesterday, but, well, we did that, and then we got pastries, and it was fucking Valentine's Day, so we didn't. So now we're recording first thing in the morning, right before work. I think Brian found the food. I see them coming now. I hope it's not cold. I ordered it kind of a while ago. I do this thing where I order my food on the Dunkin' Donuts app, like, before I'm even fully awake. Like, I'm in bed, and I do it half asleep. And then by the time I get here, it's not too hot to eat, so I eat it on my way to work. But sometimes I order too early, and then I'm late for work, and then it's cold. Hey!
What did you tell them?
Nothing.
Ow, my back.
Your back hurts that bad?
No, it doesn't, my back, I don't have back pain, I just have a knot in my back.
Ugh. From what?
I don't know, I'm fucking sleeping wrong or something.
That sucks.
Who knows?
You should go to a masseuse.
A masseuse, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go to one.
Just show up unannounced and say,
You probably have to, like, book an appointment.
sorry about that.
It's okay.
Threw a piece of trash at you. Oh my Jesus.
Did you check the sandwiches?
I did.
Are they
I checked
good?
one of them.
Well, I ordered no cheese on both, so it should be fine regardless.
I figured, thank you.
No problem. If mine has cheese, it's okay.
Exactly. Because you like cheese.
I do. Cheese is okay. Is this gonna Bluetooth?
It might. Let me check. Goddamn fracking. Well, my Bluetooth is off, so it really shouldn't.
Okay, that's good. We gotta
Yeah,
go.
see,
We gotta
NPR's
go.
on.
We gotta go.
So I'm trying to connect the phone, freaker.
Oh, it could connect to my phone.
Maybe it's seeking a phone. 1 2 1 2 bop 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 bop. Yeah, I don't think it's connected.
Look at this long ass line we didn't have to wait in. Just I ordered ahead.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah, it only took 2 minutes to get it done. Do you hear that sound? It's the sound of my rose.
I got you one single rose.
And baby's breath. Very elegant.
Baby's breath.
Yeah, that's what this is.
I handmade the bouquet with my own hands. I searched through infinite fields of flowers and grass to find the perfect flowers.
Aw.
Are roses naturally occurring? They are, right? Obviously, all plants are.
Naturally occurring?
No, I mean, like, that was
here?
a stupid way to ask that question. I meant, like, where would you just see a rose bush?
I mean, people have them in their yards, but are they native to North America?
Yeah, like, where would you find a native rose bush, I wonder?
Only 20 rose species are native to various parts of North America. It doesn't say.
Only 20 of them. You can only find 20.
The Pilgrims planted roses at Plymouth Plantation in 1621.
Yo, shout out to the Plymouth Pilgrims.
The first governor, John Carver, reported in his journal that they planted reds, whites, and damasks. He did not say where they got the plants, and there's no mention of roses on the bill of lading for the Mayflower. That's interesting.
That's kind of it. Yeah, wow.
Somebody must have just brought rose seeds.
Aren't
Rose bulbs.
Aren't roses, isn't there some kind of, like, classic British insignia that has to do with roses or something? Like War of the Roses. Isn't that, like, maybe a symbol of, like, the Tudor house or something?
It could be. I have no idea. This says, when New England settlers came to North America, they found the native roses appealing and sent them to England in 1725. So maybe some were native here. Oh, there are some native North American roses, and the settlers also brought slips and cuttings of their favorite old garden roses that were from home.
Well,
that's interesting.
Shout out to the Pilgrims.
Shout out to the Pilgrims, I guess. I don't know about that.
Well, we're glad we're here, not glad how it happened.
Yeah.
We really regret some parts of this process, but we're happy to be here.
I'm glad I'm alive, I guess. I don't know. It's 9:30 in the morning. I feel so sleepy, even though this is a time that I'm up every single day. I'm usually up earlier.
Well, what we did is the reason that I'm driving you to work.
I already told them.
Oh.
But we'll say it again.
Did you tell them we went to Aqua Plaza?
I did.
Such a nice restaurant.
I call it Aqua Plaza. I don't know.
Aqua Plaza. No, I think it's Aqua Plaza.
Okay.
Aqua Plaza. It's the fish plaza.
Where they congregate.
It was really, really nice. I spilled a whole bottle of sparkling water on a guy.
Yeah.
To be fair, though,
He really played it off well.
he did.
If you didn't even he didn't even sometimes someone will grimace and they're mad, but then they don't take it out on you. They're like, it's okay. He didn't even do that.
I didn't even look at him. I don't
He
know.
was very gracious and chill about the fact that you just fucking gave him a cold shower and seltzer water.
To be fair, it wasn't entirely my fault. The table wobbled and the menu that was standing up knocked over my glass that was full.
It was a very wobbly table, and also the restaurant was the size of a large living room.
Yeah, and there were 40 tables in there.
Yeah, all very, very close together. Yeah, we could just hear every single conversation at every table if you tried to key into it.
Honestly, though, not a bad review because the food was amazing.
Yeah.
And the people there were nice. Very fancy.
Each entree was $37.
Yeah. We got oysters.
Only the best. We got
tried
2 of them.
2 oysters.
It was gross, dude.
They were really tiny and they tasted like the sea. It was like a shot, like taking a shot of like the ocean. In a good way?
In a good way. I like salty seafood.
We both ate them and we were like, oh, so fancy. We put the vinaigrette on it and like stirred them around and like, we were like, all right,
Squeezed
same
a
time.
drop of lemon onto it.
Yeah, it was very fancy. We felt fancy. And then we were like, okay, now both of us will take our sip, question mark, sip bite. We'll take our sip bite. And
Take your oyster slurp.
Yeah. And then we did it at the same time and we just like looked at each other and neither of us said anything for a second. And we were like, how do you feel about that? Was that good for you?
Fucking gross. It's so stupid.
Maybe it was the kind that we got.
See, my review was that it would have been great if I had like 25 of them. And I could just keep eating them and eat like a million of them until I was too full to keep eating.
Yeah.
Then I would have liked them. But the fact that they were like $18 each.
They were $3.
And the size of like a nickel.
They were $3 each and the size of a golf ball.
No. Yeah, only in circumference. Not 3-dimensional scale.
They were the height of a nickel.
It was just a small circle flat.
Yeah, that's true. Were they clams or were they oysters?
I have no clue. Also, why didn't they choose adult oysters?
Well, we ordered little neck
Look,
clams.
big ones.
We ordered little neck ones. Maybe that's the kind. I don't know. I don't get oysters often. I don't even know if I've even had them before.
Hey, can you feed me a sip of my coffee?
You said that in a really weird way.
Yeah, like
You made it
I'm
sound
driving
creepy.
with my knee, holding a sandwich in one hand, and recording with the other.
Do you want me to hold the recorder?
No, I'm a bro. Do you think there's someone listening that just felt appalled by what I just said?
Fuck them. They should be used to it by now. What is this, your first episode?
Uh-huh. Whoever it is, or it's their first episode, they're not getting converted into a long-term listener.
Rip. Oh.
So, sorry.
No, come back. Don't leave.
Should we answer art questions like you proposed the other day?
Oh, yeah, we got a DM.
All right. Let me hit you with one.
Oh, you have one?
Yeah, I got a bunch.
Oh, we have one.
Well, I think we should answer multiple.
Okay.
Because I get art questions all the time. And one thing that I find so kind of funny about them is that most of the time they're very bad questions, but they're very important to the asker. Like, here's one. How do you start... I'll ask you this. How do you start a drawing? Just straight up, how do you start? What do you do?
Dude, honestly, that's such a fair question. I've spent so much time, quote-unquote, drawing where I'm just looking at an empty page like, fuck. Hey, stop throwing trash at me.
I'm throwing it onto the floor in front of you.
You're not. You threw it at the door and it bounced off and landed on my lap for 2 times in a row.
Well, it's just a little piece of paper. Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, what do you do? So you're looking at the blank sheet of paper, you're crying, your fingers are bleeding, there's a bat flying behind you, biting your little hairs out of your scalp while you scream. And what happens then?
Well, honestly, I don't know if I recommend this, but what I usually do is I go on my Instagram and I go to my saved art folder and I look at art that has been inspiring to me in the past and see if I can think of anything based on what I'm looking at.
So how do you reverse engineer that? So the advice really would be to create a morgue.
A morgue?
You ever heard that term? That's like a boomer term. Like a lot of old art people use that. Where they make a morgue where they, like, before the internet, they would collect parts of magazines or newspapers or pictures or, like, things that they found interesting. Like, it's like they were like IRL reblogs for old people.
Are you talking about a inspo board?
I mean, that would be one way to call it, name it or say it. But I've had multiple older people call it a morgue.
Morgue, like a crypt?
Yeah, like it's like an old word for, like, like portfolio of things that you find really cool and interesting.
Yeah, I highly recommend that. Because the thing is, actually, I do recommend this. I was going to say that I don't, because a lot of the time when you're in an art block like that and you're trying to start and you're tired or whatever and you pull out your phone, you're going to wind up on Instagram and then you just don't make art. So I would be wary of that. But I do think that it's really helpful. Like, I've used Pinterest a lot for this because it's easy to stay on the portfolio by being on Pinterest. Like, you're just looking at your photos, really. Pinterest does have kind of an echo chamber of the same images, though. But anyway, if you can find a place to put those pictures, or in your camera roll or something, it puts you in the practice of curating your aesthetics and thinking about the things that you like all the time, even when you don't have time to make art. You're taking photos of stuff and saving things while you're online, or like if you're in a store and you see a nice color combination or something like that, and you're just clipping those things or saving them somewhere, then when you come back to actually have time to draw, you can kind of jump right in by using that inspiration and say, oh, this made me think about making this, or maybe I could try doing this now. It bookmarks things that you see when you don't have time to actually make.
Yeah. Another really good idea too, like kind of to branch off that, is like, if you don't know what to draw, here's my thing. Every time I fucking think about this. If you don't know what to draw, you're really anxious about wanting to draw, and you're staring at a blank page, there may be a solution involved that has nothing to do with art. It might mean that you should just go take a walk, or like take a shower, or like clean your room or something. Like, stop trying to like force something that you like and enjoy, and just go fucking relax. And then once your body and your mind feels better, you will not, anyway, exit 9.
Yeah,
okay.
A lot of traffic.
Also, another idea, if you're trying to start a drawing and you can't, you might be struggling with inspiration, yes. And let's say you followed Theo's advice already, and you have a ton of imagery that you like and think is cool that you collect, but you're struggling to figure out how to use that imagery. One really fun thing to do, take somebody else's drawing and attempt to make a perfect forgery of it.
Interesting.
Just make a clone of a different piece of art, and it is judged by how well you have copied that image. Like, no creativity involved. Like, make a perfect copy of somebody else's drawing. Because you probably can't, for one, because it's really fucking hard, obviously, depending on what you choose. But it just makes you a way better artist, and you have a really cool picture at the end.
That's true. I will say, this probably goes without saying, but just in case any of you little fucks get confused, you can't actually create a forgery. Don't tell people it's your art if you do that. That is a learning exercise.
Yeah, and I mean, that would be an embarrassing learning experience for you too, because like,
you'll get eviscerated.
I've that happened to me one time, and like here's the thing: as I relate to copying people's art, especially like, all right, if you're like a 31-year-old like man and you like steal somebody's art and like post it as your own, you kind of are being fucking weird.
Yeah,
that's very weird, strange, creepy behavior.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I mean, if you're like 16 and you do that and you like copy someone's drawing and then post it and like 3 of your friends like it and you claim it's your own, like it's not great. You'll grow out of it, but like it's less embarrassing when you're a kid doing it, I feel like. I
mean, everything's less embarrassing when you're a kid doing it, but you still should absolutely not do that.
Don't do it.
I've had that happen before, and it's not a fun feeling.
Yeah, me too.
Like, there's what we're talking about, the part that you struggle with when you start a piece of like creating your composition, finding your source material, like that's undermining all of that work if you're just ripping off someone's shit and posting it as your own. Do not do that. I won't respect you.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
It is embarrassing no matter how old you are.
Damn. I was gonna like make an excuse for the young kids, but Theo says no.
You're old enough to know better. If you're old enough to get arrested for shoplifting, don't steal art. You don't think the teenagers are so young?
I think the teenagers are so young.
Yeah, you say stuff like this all the time.
Well, I just remember being like, I don't know, like being a kid and like, you know what was something that I definitely remember is not having any idea. Like, it's almost like there's a bit of like unspoken etiquette and rules and assumed things in art and stuff that you that you learn by osmosis.
Yeah.
Like, don't just, like, rip off someone's work or make something, like, directly fucking, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I remember not knowing that shit like that.
So why are you saying it's chill? Don't tell them it's chill.
I'm not saying it's chill. I'm just saying it's bad. But I feel bad for you more than thinking, like, I don't think that a kid that does that is, like, a piece of shit. I think that they're, you know, a dummy.
Yeah.
They're being stupid.
I mean,
All right,
yeah, but
whatever.
still.
We're getting pitched on this one stupid part. Don't copy people's shit. Copy people's work for your own enrichment.
And that's the thing. You can also do that and post it and say that it's an artist copy. Or that you're, like, trying to learn from someone's style. Like, people do that all the time. It's not a crime to make that piece of art. It's a crime to then say, hey, look at this thing I made that is completely my original work.
Do you remember when that fucking guy did that to me?
Yeah.
And it was some guy, and the reason that I was pissed about it is because he had, like, 3 or 4 times more followers than me, and an insane amount of engagement. And then I saw my own drawing on the Explore page. Like, just a shitty version of something that I made.
Yeah.
And it was literally like if I still have the 2 saved pictures, and when you put them together, it's not a fucking coincidence.
Yeah.
Like, it was like the guy just copied my drawing. And then I messaged him and, like, put him in my story, and I was like, hey, fuck you. Well, I wasn't, like, hostile to him, but I was just like, hey, that's, like, fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, at least, like, credit me if you want to, like, do that. And then the guy was like, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 and, like, deleted the post. But then I felt like he got his comeuppance because a couple weeks later, his account got Parasite hacked and turned into, like, one of those creepy, like, crypto account hacks where they're, like, trying to, like, sell watches to people and, like,
Damn.
you know those ones where, like, something just gets into your account and just deletes every post and, like, changes the handle.
It's like The Last of Us.
It's like The Last of Us, but for Instagram. So that happened to that guy. Rest in peace to that guy's Instagram account. I feel bad about his Instagram account, but maybe it was karmic. I don't know. I actually don't believe in karma at all.
I don't know.
I don't think I do. I think it's not real.
I had one time a situation where I had this shirt design that I made that I, like, drew up, hand screen printed, and made a bunch of copies of and sold at markets. And I was told... This was so fucked up because the only reason the person told me is because they got in a fight with their friend who was doing this for a long time. And then they decided to contact me in, like, the pettiest move in the universe and tell me that this happened. Which, like, respect, but also holy shit. But anyway, this girl's friend was making copies of my shirt and stole the image and was reprinting it on other shirts and selling them and saying it was their art. And I messaged the person and I was like, what the fuck? Like, why are you doing that? But they had a private account, but I had screenshots, so I sent the screenshots to them and I was like, your friend told me that you did this, so stop doing it or I'll, like, be mad at you, because that's all you can say. And they added me to their account and none of the posts were there anymore, and they were like, I didn't do that, look!
Wasn't me!
Yeah, and I was like, I know you deleted them. But then they stopped. And then after that, they started liking my posts a lot, which was creepy, so I blocked them. But yeah.
That's embarrassing.
The reason that art theft, I feel like, is such a sensitive subject isn't even because of the individual incident, even though that's disrespectful, it makes you feel awful when it happens to you, but because there aren't a lot of laws protecting visual artists at all. And there's not a lot that you can do if someone just completely rips off your work and fucks you over. And we also know that, like, you've seen evidence of this even in the interviews that we've done, that sometimes it can be one piece that catches fire and people love that boosts your whole career. And if that piece isn't really yours, or you stole it from somebody, you're fucking that person over in a way you can never fix.
And you're fucking yourself over.
Yeah, because you can't do it again.
You're sabotaging your own future by, like, staking your potential success on theft or crime.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Famously, Kusama, contemporary artist still out there working, attempted to take her own life when she was a young artist for this very reason.
It happened to her multiple times by... I know Andy Warhol was one of them. I forget who the other artists were, but there were 3 different major installations that she had done or had slated that random dudes basically stole from her and then had a much more successful show.
Like her infinity rooms.
Mm-hmm. And her soft sculpture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't recall too much specifically about her story, but if you want to learn more about her story, there's many free documentaries on YouTube about this. I got another question.
Yeah.
A listener wrote this one in. Let me read it to you. Dear Theo and Brian, I am trying to... I'm lying. There's no listener question.
Okay, well, I have a listener question for real. Someone sent the podcast a DM the other day that I opened and didn't reply to because I wanted to address it on the podcast and then send them a message and say, hey, this is what we said. But, so if you saw that I saw your message, sorry about that. But, I got a message that said something along the lines of, like, I really want to get started in doing art markets and tabling, and I have some merch. I make, like, little drawings and pins and patches, but I don't know how to get started in this. I've never done one before. How do you even get started tabling? I thought it was an excellent question, and also very topical because we just did the Hassle Flea.
It's a great success. It was a lot of fun. Great market.
It was.
I mean, here's the thing. Here is the thing. It's a circuit, you know, just like anything else, meaning that the people involved in the organization and tabling are all tight-knit. They're all on the same email thread. They all follow each other. They all know each other. And it's like once the word goes out, a post or an email thread goes out announcing that the event is going to happen, all of those people know immediately, and then they sign up, and then they get locked in. And that's basically how a circuit works. You hear that word a lot. You hear like the house show circuit, or like the country bar circuit for shows, or like something like that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, where it's just like a big part of beginning to even be able to be involved in that is you just have to understand where they're happening, who's making them, who's organizing them, and you need the logistics first, or you just won't even know that they're happening. And that surprisingly is a very hard part for most things. So that's part like 1A.
So how do you get into that circuit? I would say that because my experience with the market circuit specifically is that I started making art on the South Shore and wasn't part of like the Boston art scene at all because I was just kind of young. This was like 2016 or 2017. And I just started looking for markets on Instagram and online and just Googling around and seeing what I could find. And that's how I came across the Hassle Flea, which was the black market at the time. And then it's just a matter of sending in the application. And if you get in, you get in. If you don't be discouraged. You just keep applying for shit. But there's a lot of them. Boston has a lot of them.
And here's another thing too, like actual Boston locals listening will know about the Hassle Flea or the black market, and they will also know, if they've ever been there, that it's really common for brand new artists to be involved in it. Or like people very new to tabling.
Yeah.
But the thing is about the tabling world and being an art vendor and doing conventions and shows and stuff like that is that the black market, or Hassle Flea, or whatever the fuck it is now, or like any art market put on by that group, is like it's the best entry level vending experience that you could ever have.
Yeah. Because
it's the most affordable market probably on the fucking East Coast. Like, it's like the next best thing would just be some random free market. But like the reason that there's so much magic with the black market or Hassle Flea or whatever they call it now is that it has a massive built-in audience and community, and it's so cheap to vend there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like being an art vendor is a really fucking good circuit because with enough experience and a good enough inventory, you could vend anywhere. You could do a fucking tattoo convention, you could do Comic-Con, you could do Anime Boston, like you could do a random show at a gallery, like you could do a flea market, like you can. The possibilities are endless, but like it's really hard to find a good market with a good community going to the shows and with enough reputation that is actually affordable. Because like if you tried to vend it like Anime Boston, you'd probably be paying like $800 for like a small setup, or you'd have to, like, there are some where you have to pay over $1,000 and the minimum size of like rental space is like 10 by 10 feet. You have to have a tent and multiple tables and like.
And the thing you have to think about too when you're factoring all of that in is like if you're new to tabling, you might be tempted to say, like, that sounds so cool, like, I want to do that, I want to go to Anime Boston, fuck it, I'll pay whatever I want to pay. But from a business perspective, if you want to do that often, and if you're trying to make money that way, it's possible to do it, but you have to keep in mind that whatever money you're putting down, it has to be feasible for you to make that back and more. So if you're going to put down, like, say, I don't know if this is a realistic number, but if you said $800, if you put that down on your table, you better be walking out of there with $2,000 or you're not even making a profit. And if you don't have stuff that's priced in that range, and if you don't think there's going to be enough people attending, that's not realistic for you. But there are markets that are way cheaper. So.
Yeah. Or, like, I mean, one of the most common ways to be an art vendor is somebody you know is having an event. Maybe it's a show, maybe it's a grand opening of some random thing, and they say, hey, like, we'd love to have people table their art or something. And then you show up there and set up a table of your stupid art and your sketchbooks and your prints, and nobody buys anything, but you learn something. Yeah. You learn how to show your art and how to stand up for it and how to stand there and tell people about it when they ask about it confidently and happily. And
that's another thing too that I didn't think about until I'd already been doing it, but a big part of tabling is sales. Like, you are sitting right there and people walk by and they're looking at your table. You need to have the instinct and the skill set to know, like, if someone doesn't say hi to you and they're just looking at your patches and pins, should you go up to them and be like, hey dude, how's it going? Like, what's up? Or should you just be quiet and let them look at your stuff? Because you might scare them away. Or they might leave because you're not acknowledging them. You know what I mean? Like, there's a certain sales skill set that comes into it that helps you a lot if you're good at it. And that comes only from experience.
I've had a lot of people buy art from me that I don't think they would have had they not talked to me. Mm-hmm. And just convincing people to buy it.
I've also had people buy art from me that if I had talked to them before they talked to me, probably would have left.
Yeah. Art vending is such an interesting experience.
It really is.
I think the first time I did it was at a farmer's market in the suburbs, and it was such a fucking disaster, and everybody hated me, and it was really embarrassing. It was such a bad experience.
That's another thing, too. When you are applying for markets, before you get discouraged, make sure that you're applying for ones and tabling at ones that match your goal demographic. Like, if you're making, like, oddities or like goth paintings and you're at like a farmer's market or a church fair, you're not going to make money.
The county apple pie fair, like, yeah. Don't sign up for that. Yeah.
Or
also
do if you want it for the like vibes. But
here's some other thing to do. So understanding what demographic you like, understanding the correct audience for your work, but also unless you are just purely into some kind of entrepreneurial like gamble, do not identify an audience and then try to make a bunch of shit to appeal to that audience, because it won't work. It will not be authentic. Your heart will not be into it, and you will not make any money. The reason that might be cool sometimes is because there are some people that, you know, don't care about art vending or art or whatever, and then they just identify an audience and then create an inventory based off shit that they wholesale bought to sell to that. You know, that's a completely different game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like many people at comic conventions or Anime Boston, like people selling like anime pocket watches or something, you know, like that is like an entrepreneurial venture where somebody wholesale purchased a bunch of products to then market to a group.
Yeah.
But that's
kind of different. Because the thing is, like, this is really hard to do, and a lot of people, like, a younger version of me did not see the value in this. But if you go to a bunch of markets and you table and you eat the fact that maybe for the first 5 of them you're not making any profit, or maybe you're just making what you put in, you're going to start to see if you're being authentic and putting work out that you want to sell, that you made because you enjoyed making it. The making process is going to be easier because it's going to be shit you already have. You don't have to make a special inventory for each market. And you're going to start to see who are the people that come up to your table. And it's going to reveal to you who your target demographic is. Like, you are marketable to somebody. You're marketable to people that like the shit that you like. But it's very hard to get outside of your head and see what that actually is from a sales perspective because you are you.
There's an ass for every seat.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you're marketing a product that you like a product that you're intentionally selling, like in terms of like reselling stock of like, say you bought a bunch of earrings on Amazon and you're trying to sell them, you can look at those products objectively and be like, the kind of person who would wear this is X and I could find them at this place. But if you made a painting and you're like, I don't know if this is good, I made this is mine, how are you supposed to distinguish who would want that and what kind of place you should go for people that want that? You know what I mean? Because I think of another folly that a lot of people fall into is that they make stuff that they think is cool but isn't stuff that they would normally make. I've done that before. Or you go to a market that is attended by people that you think are cool but aren't the same demographic as you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and especially when it's art and like decor stuff, it might be like your friends or something, but they all have a very different aesthetic. And you can't take those things personally, because if you go to a market, like the thing about the black market that I really like, or the Hassel Flea, is that there's such a wide range of people within the DIY subculture that go to that market that when you talk to people throughout the day, you'll start to notice. Like, we had tables next to each other, and we have vastly different aesthetics, which I'd never thought about until recently. But we were having different people come up to our tables and interested in different things because of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and as far as rejection and stuff goes, it's like I've literally had people like just people actually just looking at something and just being like, just making a face like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Same.
Like, ugh. And then they don't look at you and then they just walk by.
Or when people ask you like rude gotcha questions, that makes me so mad. Like at the market I was just at, I made these little teacup candles. So they were just candles poured into little ceramic teacups in a thrift store. And this lady comes up to me and she's like, how do I know that the cup isn't gonna burn? Like, isn't this gonna scorch the cup? And I was like, are you gonna drink out of it? What the fuck?
Some people harbor a like hatred for like institutions or for larger concepts, and then they eventually find some small vulnerable like way to like repository,
yeah,
like way to, you know, just place that like hatred for like a giant large concept. Like, some people think that like they can't buy anything without being tricked, and there's like no true art, and like everything is like predatory and fucked up. So then they just find some random person that doesn't deserve it at all to just like take a fucking shit on.
Yeah.
And they're like, ha, yeah, that's how the world is. Exactly. Yeah, all art is fake. No true art exists.
Like, shut up.
And then they're just like bullying some like person at a farmer's market who like made like butterfly earrings. It's like, shut the fuck up, you dumbass. Like, either buy this stupid like polymer clay necklace for $15 or shut the fuck up. Like, stop like harassing people that absolutely do not deserve your ire.
Yeah.
It is like so stupid, because like, I don't know, man, like if you're mad at like the lack of authenticity and creation and capitalism, like, don't take a shit on some random person at an art show. I know. I don't know. Go like smash a window at a McDonald's. Like, leave us alone. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, how much, like how fucking like lost do you have to be to do that? You know what I had somebody do one time, and this was such a confusing experience? Mm-hmm. I had a market, and I had like some clay piece, and it probably sucked, and like, I don't know, it was like just a clay head, one of the random ones. And I had it for like, I don't know, $40 or something. Come on, you piece of shit. Get the fuck out of the way. I had it for like $40, and this lady came up to me and picked it up, and she's like, this is way too much. Like, can I, like, how about 10? And, no. Well, I just like felt so demoralized, like, and I had like not sold anything that whole market, that I was just like, all right, whatever. And then I sold it to this lady for $10.
Damn.
And I just was thinking about that after, and I was like, that lady was so fucking disrespectful, like sneered at my unreasonable price. It seemed to not even like me. But wanted the clay piece. Like, I was like thinking, I'm like, why did you even want this? Yeah. Like, if like that, like you acquired this through such like dishonorable means and took a shit on me, the person who made it, while you did that.
controversial opinion, but haggling at art markets is gauche.
I mean, like, yes and no. Like, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, if something costs, like, I don't know. Like, it's a percentage thing. Like, if something costs $100 and you say, can you do 80?
Yeah.
That's not that crazy. Or if you say, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's like a reasonable haggle.
Yeah.
But if you say that's too much, how about $5? Or like, this is overpriced.
Yeah, it depends on how you're saying it. If you're like, I don't have $100, but I really like this, that's not as bad. That's giving the person an option. But if you're like, this isn't worth it.
Yeah, like, this is absolutely not worth it. Here's 5.
Yeah, fuck off.
I don't regret that moment. It's not like I'm embarrassed that happened. I think it was a very good learning moment because I was just like, wow, I just let a random person completely disrespect me and like harvest my art from me. Like,
she still has
like
it?
as if I was like a bird being plucked for feathers. And I was like, whatever.
Do you think she still has the piece?
Who knows? She probably fucking... You know what's something that has happened to me in the past that I wonder maybe if this lady could have been an example of that? Is occasionally somebody will think that I am somebody selling oddities or antiques.
Oh.
They'll think that the clay heads are like random things that I've like collected and found. And they don't know that I made all of them by hand.
You'd have to be a fucking idiot to not know that.
I mean, I have had some people say like, wow, like where did you find these things? You know what I mean? Because one thing I have done over the years is try to make art that looks like I tried to make them look like they're antiques. Like create old distressed effects as if I like found them in a wall. That's the idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe I succeed so much at that. I don't know what I'm saying. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that you sell antiques with your art sometimes.
I do. I also do that. I'll throw in a couple little old things. Oh my lord.
Do we have any other questions? We only answered 2.
Yeah.
Well, do we have time? We have 10 minutes left.
Okay.
How long is this episode?
What do you do if nobody likes your art? That's one I always love to answer.
Do people ask that?
No, but I mean, I think there are people out there that love to make art and they love to create and they're always drawing and they feel like a creative person, but they might not be naturally gifted and they might not have conventional skills, and maybe their parents or their friends or the people in their life just don't think it's very good and don't hype them up.
My advice to that person, it's not you, just get better materials. If you're drawing and painting on printer paper, use canvas instead, and it doesn't matter what your skill set is.
That's very good advice, actually.
If it's presented well, and if you treat your art with respect and you store it, like if you're storing your stuff like shit, if you only, people ask to look at your art, you just rip something out of a sketchbook. If it's all like number 2 pencil, printer paper, like artists and crafts, not artists and craftsmen, that's actually fine. Artist loft, like, you're not treating your work with respect, and if you also don't yet have the skill set you'd like, you're kind of like, there's not this is kind of harsh, but there's not anything there. But if you have the right materials, I'm not saying expensive materials, you can get this shit at like Job Lot, but if you present it like it is art and you respect yourself and you treat it like it is art and you hang it on the walls, you will find your niche. You don't have to be like traditionally skilled to make good art.
Yeah, that was very unexpected advice.
That's true, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Sometimes
That's
you
a good
see
point.
people that are really, really talented doing like practically like photorealism, and they're doing it with like crayons and printer paper, and it looks like dog shit. My least favorite way to curate an art show is the trend I've been seeing recently with like local shows of like just thumbtacking printer paper to a literal wall.
You probably don't want to do that.
It's not as contemporary as you think it is.
Cutting edge.
I'm a big fan of thumbtacking canvas to a wall, which I know is also kind of similar, but at least it's canvas, you know?
Well, I mean, the whole idea of painting on loose canvas is so that you can store it. It's way more affordable. You can make giant pieces.
Yeah.
And I mean, buying a stretched canvas that is like for even like something like 48 by 48 inches would cost you close to probably $100.
Yeah. But buying a roll
or
of canvas, buying a roll of loose canvas is about $80, and it's usually like 20 yards?
Yeah. Wow. Actually, 20 yards would be like a fuckload. Maybe like 20 feet.
Oh, well, still.
Yeah.
Think of how many pieces you could make from that.
Yeah, a lot. So get better materials.
Yeah. Also, better materials will enable you to do more mixed media work. If you're working on canvas, you can sew that, you can iron that, you can rip that up and put it back together. You can use glue, you can use paint, you can use markers. If you're using just paper, and it's not high quality paper, which some cold press paper is more expensive than canvas, if we're being real.
Good point.
I don't know. It just makes your work fall apart faster. It makes it less valuable from an archival perspective. And it's not a great presentation for your piece.
And here's something I was told a very long time ago that's proven true over and over again. People respect your work as much as you respect your work.
That's true.
Like if it's just kicking around, it's on the floor, or it's like fucking broken and if you're not treating it with any dignity or respect, and you're not taking care of it, the people who handle it or hold it or see it will not show it any reverence at all.
Yeah.
But if it's in like a glass case and it's like carried in by like a bunch of guys wearing white gloves and like everyone like has to wear masks and stand 10 feet away from it, then everyone might be like, holy shit, this must be some serious thing. What?
Did you just spit out the window?
Yeah, obviously. Would you think I was gonna spit in the window?
What the fuck? I have to go to work now.
I know, I'm so sorry.
I don't want to go to work.
Oh no.
It feels like it's supposed to be the weekend.
I know, it's because we're hanging out midweek because of Valentine's Day.
Which was really nice.
Yeah.
But now it's over.
It's over. I'm so fucking tired.
Why are you so tired?
I think I just woke up mid-REM sleep.
Oh, you did.
You know that vibe?
Yeah.
It's like where it feels like your sleep didn't complete.
Do you remember that my alarm went off, and you tried to rip my phone out of my hands to snooze it when it was already not on anymore?
Really?
I turned it off and you were grabbing my phone and I was like, Brian, what the fuck? And you wouldn't let go.
I was like, give me the phone. Give me the phone.
Because your new thing is sleeping with your phone in your hand and snoozing it while asleep.
I'm 50,000 different alarms guy. I like to have many, many, many alarms going off at the same time. It's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure some listeners will identify.
A lot of people drive like this on this street. Oh my god.
Because they're all stupid and brain dead.
What is the name of the street?
Parker Street, I believe.
The one next to between Wentworth and Northeastern.
Yeah, I think
skinniest street in the world.
I think it's Parker. Yeah. Or Park? I don't know.
This is not Park Street.
Well, there's more than one Park Street.
No. Look, it's Archie Andrews.
That guy literally does look like KJ Apa.
It's the hair.
Yeah. I don't want you to leave.
I don't want to leave.
Alright, maybe I should shut up this recording so I can actually say bye to you.
Okay.
Or we'll keep recording while you leave, and then I'll keep recording solo.
You're just not going to say bye to me?
Nope, I'll just be like, peace. Dap you up.
What the hell?
Fist bump.
Okay, get out of here, listeners. I'm done.
Alright, bye, listeners.
Bye.
Fuck off. Thanks for coming. I hope some of these questions helped you out. Sorry about the shorty episode. We had to make this in a pinch. Love you guys.
Love you.
Hell yeah. 666. Just kidding. Alright, guys. Bye. See ya.
Boston Art Podcast is an independent DIY production by Brian Huntress and Theodora Earthworms. The information contained in this episode represents the views and opinions of the original creators or our guests, and does not represent any institution, organization, or business. Find us on Instagram at Boston Art Podcast, and tune in for a new episode every Friday. Thank you for listening.